Well, good morning and welcome to each of you this morning. And I'm going to begin by making you aware that council meetings are available live through Zoom, and recordings may be posted online on County of Huron's YouTube channel. You may be seen and or heard as part of these broadcasts, and your name, comments, and or presentation materials will become part of the public record. And with that, I'd like to call this meeting to order. And first on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I'd be looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Harding, Councillor Goderich would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. Is there any pecuniary interest that anybody needs to declare at this time? Seeing none, we'll go on to minutes. And if there's any errors or omissions in our minutes to address, and if not, I'd be looking for a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes. So Councillor Becker and Councillor Anderson would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. And we do have delegation this morning from here in Perth Public Health. So we have Laura O'Rourke and Lindsay O'Donnell, and you're going to be presenting to us. So welcome to the podium, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you for having us. We are here today to share the growing evidence related to the importance of social connection, how social connection is a key protective factor to improve health in our communities, and the important role that municipalities play in this work. To ground our next slide, please. To ground our conversation today, I'm going to start by sharing something that will be familiar to many of us, which is how we define health. Using the World Health Organization's definition, health is a complete state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not just the absence of disease. While the concepts of physical and mental health have been widely promoted, social health has not been prioritized to the same extent. Social health is important for our overall health because it impacts our physical and mental well-being. Next slide, please. Loneliness and social isolation can have serious negative health effects across the lifespan. When we talk about social connection, we look at the structure, how connection happens, the function, how it meets our needs, and the quality of our relationships, not just the number of relationships we have. So why is social connection so important? Because as a strong protective factor, it is a critical and often underappreciated contributor to individual and population health. Risk and protective factors are the various and often complex factors that affect our health and well-being. As a key protective factor, social connection supports health outcomes, improves mental well-being, reduces likelihood of problematic substance use, and promotes individual and community resiliency. Next slide, please. Social connection is a basic human need. When we lack meaningful and fulfilling social connections, we experience loneliness. Similar to hunger and thirst, loneliness is our body's way of telling us what we need. When we fail to meet these needs, we experience severe negative impacts on our mental and physical health. Next slide, please. Loneliness and social isolation can have serious negative health effects across the lifespan. We know the important role that our social well-being has not only to our own health, but to the health of our communities. At an individual level, evidence shows that increased connection can help reduce the risk of serious health conditions such as heart disease, stroke, dementia, and depression. On average, people who have strong social connections are happier, healthier, and live longer than those who don't. At a community level, residents who are more connected with one another often fare better on several measures of population health, community safety, and community resilience when emergencies strike. The more socially connected people are, the better their collective response and recovery is. Residents who feel more connected to their community also have increased levels of civic engagement. Next slide, please. We are very excited to share the newly released Canadian Social Connection Guidelines, the first of their kind worldwide. Similarly to how we have public health guidelines for sleep, physical activity, and healthy eating, these guidelines are an important step in raising awareness of the importance of social connection. Communities provide the social environments in which individuals live, work, and interact, and these environments can either hinder or facilitate social connection. The community guidelines provide recommendations for communities and their leaders to reduce and prevent loneliness, social isolation, and disconnection. These include promoting the awareness of the importance of social connection, fostering healthy social and emotional development, making social connection a priority in policies and practices, designing environments for connection and investing in social events, activities, and programs, improving accessibility and inclusion for all people, measuring and making progress towards improving social well-being.
Right. Next slide, please. So today we brought a new resource for you all. I think Susan has shared that with you, a municipal primer focused on the topic of social connection. So this primer really overviews why social connection is so important, as well as giving practical examples of interventions that support opportunities at a municipal level. But before we dive into the role that municipalities can play, we first want to acknowledge that this isn't a new concept. Social connection has been happening, and there's many great things already happening in our communities to provide opportunities for people to meet and get to know each other. We just really want to bring this conversation to the forefront of conversations and have intentional conversations about the importance of it in our work. So municipalities are very well positioned to foster social well-being in their communities through the use of planning and community design, policies and programs and practices. And municipalities can recognize and highlight the importance of social connection as they undergo revisions to their official plans, recreation, culture plans, and HPBH can help provide recommendations for language in these plans and is already supporting many different municipalities with this work. And today we really want to focus on two initiatives that we think have exciting potential to support connection opportunities for residents in Huron County. So we'll talk about placemaking and the role of neighborhoods. So first we'll speak to placemaking. Next slide, please. And the role it builds for social connection. So placemaking is the process of creating vibrant, inclusive public spaces that reflect the unique character and needs of the community. It's really about bringing people together to transform underutilized areas into welcoming, engaging environments where everyone feels a sense of belonging. But the true power of placemaking is really in the process of how it brings community spaces to life. When people can take an active role in shaping their community, they emerge with new social connections and a stronger sense of community belonging. So investing in meaningful community engagement not only generates more resident-focused ideas, but the participation itself creates opportunities for connection. Placemaking provides a platform for people's voices to be heard and to be decision makers in their communities. So whether it's a new mural, a bustling block party, or a peaceful community garden, placemaking empowers communities to shape their own spaces and create places that matter. And it doesn't always have to be costly or permanent to have an impact. The goal of placemaking is to create a place where people can connect and engage with, whether that's through taking a moment to appreciate or contribute to public art, engaging in a fun activity, connecting to nature, or chatting with a neighbor. Next slide, please. So now we want to highlight some neighborhood strategies, and we recognize the word neighborhoods might not feel like it applies to all different areas in our municipalities, but for today's conversation, a neighborhood is an area where people live and interact with each other. So the spaces we're naturally gathering. So this could be your country block, the local school, an apartment complex, or the people on your street. Neighborhoods play an important role to support social connection, and local governments can influence not only the design of neighborhoods, but also the programs to help people connect and work together to do great things in their neighborhood. Social connection is a key ingredient of community resilience. In an emergency, your neighbors will be the first people available who could potentially help. People who know and trust their neighbors are better able to support each other. And one of the most effective emergency preparedness activities is to encourage residents to get to know their neighbors. Neighborhood connection may look like people having a sense of neighborhood pride, local events that are well attended, people in their neighborhoods helping each other, and people knowing their neighbors by names and having regular conversations with them. And people in the neighborhood who are welcoming and encouraging of diversity. One way that we can all begin to make our communities stronger and more resilient is by making efforts to meet, nurture, and strengthen the connections and relationships we have with our neighbors. Next slide, please. So we wanted to share a local event, and just recently the date has changed. So we'll ignore the April date on the slide and look forward to attending the event in the fall. But this event is in partnership with United Way Community Coordinators, and it's called a Belonging Matters workshop that will explore a conversation that will be look at what belonging looks like in our communities and how to enhance opportunities for social connection. So at Huron Public Health, we continue to have lots of conversations about social connection at many partnership tables, including community safety well-being plans. And part of our role is really just to share innovative ideas with partners, as we all have a role to play in bolstering social connection in our community. And our work is focused on how we can do that together with intention and have collective impact. Next slide, please. So thanks again for having us today. Social connection, as Lindsay stated, is an extraordinary protective factor, which not only helps prevent risky behavior, but it also builds health in lots of different ways. And as we wrap up, we wanted just to leave some questions on the screen to ignite some conversations around social connection, get your brains thinking a little bit, and we're happy to take any questions or comments you may have. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Laura and Lindsay, and I'm going to turn it over to council. Is there any questions you would have regarding their presentation? Yes, past Warden McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. We had a presentation that was quite similar to this at HPPH. And one of the things I brought up at that point was that it's one thing to have programs out there that people can join and get together, but sometimes the municipality has to go a little bit farther. And I gave an example of the Brussels Fall Fair. The Brussels Fall Fair, I think, is got to be one of the best in the province, if not the country. It's just amazing, the package that they put together for that community. When I was there this year, they not only had a lot of different events that kids could do, but even the fire department, when they came out, they didn't just have a display for kids to walk around and look at and go, oh, that's cool. They had actual training sessions for the kids where they had a fenced off area in the tennis courts. They had fire hoses, not full pressure, of course, but kids had to go up ladders. They had to go through things. Then they got to actually use a fire hose with water in it. I know that because my grandson made sure one of the firemen got very wet. I think he thought he was on fire. I'm not sure. But the thing is also that when Brussels Fall Fair puts this together, there's no cost. Everybody in town shows up and all the kids get to play together. It's so easy that when you live on a street, someone 3 doors down, you might not get to know. Your neighbor, absolutely. But as you get farther and farther away, it's easier not to see those people. But when you get to meet in those social interactions like that, where there's no burden on the parents, you can show up, your kids can play on this stuff all day long and it doesn't cost anything. And they get to interact with other kids in the neighborhood or from the vicinity. It just is such a great feeling. And I think events like that are really important to community growth overall. And once you get to meet those people, then you talk to them the next time you see them on the street, things like that. So it's good to have good programs, but we've got to go a little bit farther and have events that draw people in and give them the opportunity to mingle together. Thank you.
Thank you for that, past Warden. Any other comments? Yep, past Warden Ginn.
Yeah, thank you. We all know that our social interactions really nosedived during COVID. I just wondered what your opinion is if we're back to where we were pre-COVID, or I get a sense that things changed and haven't went back to normal, but I just wonder what your take on it is since you live this every day.
Yeah, I think we are still working on that. And how can we really intentionally change kind of the environments in which we are providing for people to make those interactions easier for them to have, like having really robust community events that people can come out to, having the spaces in our environments that make it conducive to bump into potentially a kid's friend that you know, and then you see them at the school. And it's those types of kind of interactions that make us more comfortable with having social connection. I don't know if you have anything to add.
I think the only thing I would add is that COVID showed us that we can still interact with technology. And I think there was lots of developments with that. And I think that comes with good things and bad things. And I think we're still learning how to be in an environment which has such great technology ways to interact with each other, but we need to get back to in the community, face-to-face interactions and what that looks like. And I think what Lindsay was saying, those natural ways that just are conducive to those social environments really help, but then having focused conversations about, oh, your community fairs that are free, that people are invited to, that we know have such great, rich environments for those social interactions to help. I think those are the conversations that we need to get back to. And I think we're getting there. I think people are aware, like the conversations we've been having, I think everybody is aware of the importance of it. It's just how do we get back to it? And maybe it's not getting back to how it was before COVID, but how do we make a new way forward with what we have now?
Yes, Past Warden again.
Yeah, and I just want to say I completely agree with Councillor McClellan that I think free events are really a great place to bring communities together. And as a, for instance, I've seen kids, we have a Harvest Fest and we don't charge anything for anybody, but I've seen kids that know each other from school, but the parents don't know each other. And when they get together and they're in a bouncy castle or wherever, it almost forces parents to interact too. And I think that's a good thing. So yeah, I agree with everything that you guys are saying. And I think we can all step up a little bit more as municipalities.
And I believe engaging does become contagious. So yeah, good points. So thank you. Yeah,
Sorry,
something
I'm
more?
just going to add one more thing. As our communities are changing, I think the engagement piece too, right, is asking what people would like to see in their communities and making sure that we're reaching all different parts of our communities, maybe not just the families with young kids, right? We have lots of diverse and ethnically diverse communities. So making sure that we're taking into consideration all aspects of our community when we're looking at engagement. So. And it's great to hear these examples. This is what I love about these kind of presentations, because people start sharing the great things happening in their communities, which we know are happening. It's just hearing about them and getting ideas from others and sharing. So thank you. I appreciate those comments.
All right. Well, thank you for your presentation. And I'd be looking for a motion to receive it. So Councillor Finch and Councillor Basnet would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. So thank you, ladies. We're at councillors' comments. Is there any comments from councillors? Past Warden McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I may be asking staff for guidance here on how to possibly move something forward. We had a report that was brought forward about our EMS service, and there's been comments a number of times, even from staff, that there is a desire at some point to stop using what was considered the Tucker Smith base, and that hopefully at some point there would be one in the Seaforth area, because it just made a lot more sense for EMS to operate out of there. It was a long time ago that the county had considered talking about a fire department EMS station in the Seaforth area and a joint operation with Huron East. But Huron East at this point is having a discussion about possibly building a fire station and a public works facility all in one. We are just starting the discussions with our council. But if EMS wanted to be part of the overall construction, it might be cheaper for everybody in the long run to build one larger facility. And I suspect that would be quite similar to what Central Huron has for their operation, which they had put up first, and then the county started renting from. But I'm just wondering how I would kind of get that discussion going. If council chooses not to do something, so be it, that's the case. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we were thinking about doing something, because it would leave the county high and dry if we went ahead and finished it and then they didn't have an opportunity.
All right. And I believe CAO Work is going to respond to that.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Warden. Now that looks like budget should be done and dusted, what we are anticipating is that a terms of reference report would be coming in front of County Council in April about the Seaforth project. And so at that time, there would be an opportunity for Council to provide some feedback on where they wanted us to go with that. So I believe Chief Horseman, that was his intention. So April, Council should be seeing a report about recommended next steps from a County Council perspective. Okay.
Okay. Any other councillor comments? Okay, we're going to move on to our consent agenda. There's 5 items on that agenda. If there's anything specific somebody wants to pull forward, now's your opportunity. And if not, then I'd be looking for motion to receive the consent agenda. So motion made by Councillor McClellan and seconded by Past Warden Ginn. Those in favor? And that is carried. So we are now at Homes for the Aged, item 9 on our agenda. And there's information update from Huron Lee, and Dana Meller and Ellen Hasty is going to be available virtually if there's going to be any questions regarding this. And yes, CO work, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Warden, this is a situation that unfolded. Unfortunately, we know a number of buildings in Huron County face some issues similar to this, and unfortunately, our Huron Lee building was one of those buildings. We're just over the last number of weeks, we've been receiving information back from our insurance adjusters on what the implications would be. We wanted to bring this in front of you for your awareness and I know that Dana is prepared, or Al is prepared, to respond to any queries that you have, again, with the most up-to-date information that we have at this time.
Thank you, Megan. So is there any questions regarding the report? And if there is not, then I'd be looking for a motion to receive this report. So that's Past Warden McNeil and Councillor Noel. Those in favor. And that is carried. And we're on to emergency services. And again, Jeff Horseman is available for questions on this report if there is any. And seeing none, then I'd be looking for a motion to receive the report and to bring back a drafted bylaw. So that is made by Councillor Finch, seconded by Councillor Heffer. Those in favor, and that is carried. And Will Williams is here for questions regarding the award of tenders for Bannockburn Bridge. Is there any questions for Will on that? Seeing none, then again, there's a recommended motion, and also to bring that back in bylaw form is a remover and seconder. So Councillor Becker and Councillor Vanstone would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. Excuse me. A replacement of structures again, an award tender, and Will Williams is here for answering questions regarding this one if there is any. And if not, then I'd be looking for motion. So Past Warden McNeil and Councillor Finch would second that. Those in favor, that is carried. And economic development. This looks like a mini ECDEV conference coming up to us here. So I'm going to start off. There's several here from the ECDEV department, and they are here to answer questions if there is any. And I'll start first on the annual report, and Vicky is available for questions on that if there is any. Not seeing any questions, then I'd be looking for a motion to receive the report. Councillor Noel and Past Warden Ginn would second that. Those in favor, and that is carried. And Vicky is again available for setting the foundation for success report. Any questions for Vicky on this one? And again, is there someone willing to put the motion forward? So that's Councillor Bazinet and Past Warden Ginn. Those in favor, that is carried. Moving on to the SLED program outcomes, and Rick is available for questions if there's any on this report. And if not, I'd be looking for a motion to receive. And that is Councillor Vanstone, seconded by Past Warden McNeil. Those in favor, and that is carried. And Chris is available for the workforce project update if there's any questions for Chris. Sign of good reports when there's no questions. So is there a mover and a seconder to receive that report? So Councillor McClellan, Councillor Dietrich would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. And the starter company, Brittany, is available for questions on this report. And if there is no questions, I'd be looking for motion to receive. So that's Councillor Noel and Councillor Heffer. Those in favor? That is carried. And Vicky is available for the local immigration partnership contract renewal if there's any questions regarding that contract. Seeing no questions, then I'd be looking for someone to put forward the motion to receive that report and bring back a bylaw. So past Warden Ginn, Councillor Finch would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. And thus ends our ECDEV mini conference. And Vicky, do you have some comments?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you, I just want to make council aware that SLED 2025 opened this week and will remain open until April the 18th? 17th, April the 17th. So please take that information back with you to your municipalities. We're accepting applications and Rick is coaching as always.
Thank you for that, Vicky. Good and successful program in the past and looking forward to this coming one. Councillor Bazinet.
I just want to say thank you to the ECDEV department on their excellent social media presence. I've been trying to share as many posts as possible, but I think it's important for people to see all the work that's happening in the county. Without those social media posts, people probably wouldn't find out. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you for those comments. And the ECDEV team, thank you for being available. And thanks for your reports today. Past Warden McClellan.
Mr. Warden, it wasn't one of these reports, but I was wondering if I could ask Mr. Sickinger a couple of questions about some projects he's worked on in the past.
I'll allow it this time because
no,
Rick is here with us.
No, this is not a criticism, Rick. I know a couple of years ago when I was on the ECDEV board, you had some really good connections and you got, whether you call it TV crews or movie crews or whatever, and they'd done some work in Huron County and you had some irons in the fire. And I was just curious how those relationships, or was it COVID that killed it all, or is there any chance of stuff like that coming back? Because you certainly brought the spotlight to Huron County in a number of areas.
Through you, Warden. Yes, so we are still quietly but actively pursuing film industry as a new economic stream for Huron County. We have a keynote speaker at Thrive that is connected to that sector in a big way. Brad Turner, who's a director, producer, writer for television and movies and is originally from Bayfield, will be one of our keynote speakers, and they'll be showing as part of their keynote, they'll be showing a short film that they shot in Bayfield. And we're very much looking at upcoming provincial funding programs to try and perhaps fund a film production office in Huron County to get it up and going off the ground.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. And past Warden McClellan would look forward for future reports for updates on that. Okay.
He's online every other week.
And just to remind you, past Warden, you're online every other week. So. All right, we're going to move on to administration policies and other issues. And the first report is our public sector salary disclosure and council remuneration. And Mike is here for questions if there's any questions on that report. And if not, I'd be looking for a motion to receive the report. Councillor Becker and Councillor Anderson would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. All right, our CAO, Megan Work, is going to speak to our next report on council term.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Warden, thanks for giving me just a few seconds here to highlight this report for County Council, particularly in light of the fact that we have some priority setting days ahead of us, the beginning of next week. I would ask Council to spend some time taking a look at this and reflecting on the past 2 years and the work that has been accomplished and continues to happen as a result of decisions that County Council and direction that County Council has made. In addition to this report, I will be asking Susan to send out some of operational plans that, again, Council has already seen, so that there's a little bit of context for the discussion that's happening on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Again, just to get the creative juices flowing, just to get Council thinking about, so this is what we've done over the past 2 years. What are your thoughts in terms of where Council wants to go over the next 2 years? So again, if County Council would just take a bit of time to go through this document, tremendous amount of work is captured here, some operational, but some really strategic based on feedback that County Council has given us. And I thank County Council for taking the time to provide us that feedback to allow us to do that work on their behalf.
Thank you, Megan. Is there any questions for Megan on this report? Past Warden Ginn.
Just the only question I had was about those 2 days that we set aside. I'm assuming they're full days, are they? Or are they half days, just so we can figure out the rest of our schedules? Did it say that?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Warden, I would anticipate, I'm hoping no later than 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I feel as if after 2 o'clock, we lose steam, right? So, I'm hoping that we're going to be pretty aggressive with getting the work done, and sometime between 1 or 2, I'm hoping we'll wrap up on both days.
All right, Councillor Basnet.
Just to make everyone aware, I will be late on the Monday. We have a police board meeting on the Monday, and then also I have another conflict on the Tuesday that I'll be late for both days, unfortunately, but I will be walking in, distracting people, unfortunately, so sorry.
Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Warden. I will be late on Monday as well, as I have another meeting at 9.
And Councillor Dietrich as well.
I will be late too.
All right. Well, then we'll expect big things when you do come. Our clerk would like to see if anybody else is going to be late, just in case it affects
Going
our
once.
numbers here.
Twice,
Okay,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock for the rest of us Monday morning.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other questions on that, I'd be looking for a motion to receive that report. So Councillor Harding, Councillor Heffer would second that. Those in favor, and that is carried. And Mike is available for questions on our draft budget. Any questions for Mike as we try and dust this off and wrap it up? If not, then there is a prepared motion to approve the county draft budget, receive it and approve it. And Councillor Dietrich would move that, and Past Warden Ginn would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. And thank you, Mike, for all the effort that gets us this far in this process. Correspondence, there's several items there. Is there anything specific anybody wants to speak to? And seeing none, then I'd be looking for a motion to receive the correspondence. And that is Councillor Basnet. Councillor Anderson would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Is there any new business that anybody needs to address for a future agenda? Seeing none, then we'll move on to notice of motion. And there is none, but there is bylaws. So I'd be looking for a mover for the 6 bylaws that are presented to us for the first, second, third, and final readings. That's Past Warden McClellan and seconded by Councillor McClellan. Those in favor? And that is carried. There is no close to the public session. So with that, just a list of meetings there. Make yourself aware of what you're responsible for, and specifically for Monday and Tuesday as we do some strategic priorities, and get your thinking caps on and come prepared as we meet those 2 days. Who would like to confirm our actions for the morning? Councillor Harding and Councillor Basnet would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. And a motion to adjourn, Councillor Dietrich and Councillor Heffer. Those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you for your attention to the details this morning.